Good evening. I'm Greg Humphrey, co-founder of ElevateMeD, and I am so honored to present to you tonight a young man that I've had the pleasure to mentor this past year. Arrix was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, and he received dual undergraduate degrees from the University of Miami in biochemistry and nutrition, alongside religion, medicine, and society. He subsequently went on to earn a master's degree in social data science from the University of Oxford in the UK. He is a recent graduate of Emory University School of Medicine, where he served as class president and was awarded a medical student research grant from the Radiologic Society of North America, using machine learning to study blunt abdominal trauma and pelvic injuries in the emergency department, with the goal of optimizing patient triage to decrease morbidity and improve survival rates. He will be starting his residency training in diagnostic and interventional radiology at McGall Medical Center of Northwestern University. Besides his outstanding academic accomplishments, I have had the pleasure to get to know Arrix personally as his mentor. From conversations of what rotations to take and how to succeed in medicine, to our deeper interpersonal conversations, I've seen Arrix grow and become a leader who is very focused, goal-directed, and determined to be the best doctor that he can be, despite the obstacles. He will be entering a profession where the percentage of Black male doctors comprise only 2.6% of the physician workforce, and Black males in radiology are even more scarce. However, I am very confident that Arrix will become an innovator and leader in his chosen field. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our keynote speaker of the evening, Dr. Arrix Ryce.
I spent the fall of 2016 in the Galapagos Islands, just off the coast of Ecuador. I was a junior at the University of Miami, studying abroad and nurturing a growing interest in ecology. On my first trip to the island of Santa Cruz, I stepped off the boat and into a fish market. And what did I see? Lobsters. Tubs and tubs and tubs full of lobsters. So many tubs that I wondered to myself, how is lobster fishing a sustainable industry for this ecosystem? I felt overwhelmed. And finally, I looked up, and I realized that the answer to my question literally surrounded me. There were signs hanging on all sides of the pavilion that read, "Throw small and young lobsters back into the ocean so that we can continue fishing in the future." But I'd been so distracted by novelty that I hadn't noticed the signs. I couldn't appreciate that I was standing in the middle of a lively community made up of pelicans, sea turtles, sea lions, and other people who were as amazed as me. Since 2016, memories of this experience have stuck with me. This experience was so mundane, and yet I have relived it so many times. This memory reminds me that getting distracted by what's in front of me is easy. The real challenge is paying attention to the big picture that surrounds me. Several months later, I was back home in Birmingham, Alabama, visiting my Uncle Leo in the hospital. For more than 20 years, he lived with end-stage renal disease. And this was but one time that an infection of his dialysis graft had landed him in the ICU. I remember standing with my mom next to his bed and listening to the doctors lay out their treatment plan. When the doctors left the room, my mom turned to me to help her make sense of the things the doctors had just shared. She and I agreed that the treatment plan was solid, but we were frustrated that the doctors failed to acknowledge the system of inequity that had made it difficult for him to make it to Monday, Wednesday, Friday dialysis appointments and meet his basic needs. They never asked, what can we do to make his life worth living? How can we support you? To the doctors in the ICU, he was another Black patient with end-stage renal disease, another patient waiting for a kidney. But to us, he was a brother, a father, an uncle. I wanted so badly for them to see that a system of inequity had brought him to this moment of vulnerability. my Uncle Leo lived a life filled with hope. All he needed was an advocate who could see the big picture. All he wanted was a doctor who could help him experience a life worth living. Too many Black and brown families have stood by their loved ones and felt just like me. Too many well-intentioned doctors are unable to appreciate the familial, educational, and financial issues that face our communities. I wanted to be a doctor and advocate that my Uncle Leo needed. I wanted to be a healer who combines science and compassion and helps give people in suffering a life worth living. So I pushed aside my interest in ecology and decided to go to medical school. I answered a calling to serve my community. I enrolled in Emory University's MD program in 2019, and each year of medical school, I added several $1,000s to a mountain of debt, hoping that my borrowing would pay off in the future. As I entered my 4th year of medical school, I took stock of the expenses I had to cover in order to apply to residency. I was committed to a future in interventional radiology, a specialty with one of the most competitive applicant pools. Mentors suggested that I apply to no fewer than 50 interventional radiology programs and 20 preliminary year programs. I should apply to 40 diagnostic radiology programs as backup. They said I should take the Step 2 licensing exam before submitting my applications. I should apply for several away rotations and try to do at least one. And they wanted me to give talks at radiology meetings too. Did you do the math on that? To make all of these things happen, I needed at least $6,000 just to complete and submit my residency applications. Then there was still a chance that I wouldn't match, and I'd have to apply again. Not matching was a fear that lingered, but the more pressing concern was that I didn't have the money I needed to make it into the applicant pool. I had no savings, no job, and my family just ain't got it like that. Then I got an email saying I've been nominated for a tuition-based scholarship from ElevateMeD. I didn't know much about the program, but I knew it could help me make ends meet. I looked over the website and realized that the scholarship program was designed to help students just like me. Students of color without money, but with a dream of serving patients, supporting families, and helping the next generation of Black and brown doctors succeed. When the email saying that I'd been awarded the scholarship came through, I was on my interventional radiology rotation at Emory University Hospital Midtown. I just left the patient's room. I stopped in the hallway to read the email, and I cheered loud enough for way too many people to hear. After savoring a moment of disbelief, I went back to the procedure suite feeling confident that I was walking in my purpose and hopeful that my dream to be an interventional radiologist would come true. Let me tell you what I'll remember most about the ElevateMeD program. I'll remember showing up for the first ever Ignite Atlanta event and seeing so many people who believed in ElevateMeD's mission to increase the diversity of the healthcare workforce. I'll remember the conversations I had with my ElevateMeD mentor, Dr. Greg Humphrey. He helped me determine which residency programs would be a good fit for me, a Black man preparing to train in a specialty where less than 10% of practicing physicians come from underrepresented communities. I'll remember walking into the Scholar Summit to meet a group of strangers and leaving with a feeling that I'd known the other scholars my whole life. I'll remember the times Dr. Shannon Smith hyped me up and assured me that help is only a call or text away. I'll remember every time Kiana Edie greeted me with a big smile and told me that I could be myself unapologetically. The ElevateMeD program has given me financial security, memories, and camaraderie. More importantly, it has given me opportunity. One of my mentors, Dr. Janice Newsom, is a Black woman and a world-renowned interventional radiologist. When I was a first-year medical student, she said to me, "Don't let anyone convince you that as a Black man, primary care is the only option for you. Because Black patients need specialists too." Her words stuck with me, and soon I'll be a trainee in one of the most respected interventional radiology programs in the world. Dr. Newsom planted a seed, and ElevateMeD gave me the financial and social support that I needed to turn my dream into my reality. ElevateMeD's scholarship program is special. There's no other program like it. I hope you'll help give Black and brown medical students opportunity. I hope you'll help Black and brown medical students make memories. I hope you'll empower Black and brown medical students to heal our communities so that one day you'll walk into a hospital or clinic and see many, many, many more doctors who look like me. Thank you.